Welcome to Planet Marzipan Podcast,
your fish and marillion podcast,
where we talk about all things in the planet of marillion and fish. I'm Mezza, and here's my mate,
Craig Houston.
Hello, and welcome to Planet Marzipan. I'm Mezza. I'm here with my good friend,
Craig.
And as you can see from the title of the episode, it's one of those charting the single episodes, and we are here to talk about Fish's Never Mind the Bullocks EP. And we welcome back some friends from the podcast, Mikey Kay.
Hello again, guys.
Hi, Mikey.
Evening.
We welcome, Craig likes to invite people with the same name to make it difficult for me, Stuart Clyde.
Hi, gentlemen. Lovely to be back.
Hi, Stuart. Welcome back. And Stuart Mitchell.
Hello.
Hiya. Good evening, gents. Welcome back. And we have a first timer on the pod for you. We have one of our listeners from America, Jeffrey Schuelke. Jeff, hi, welcome.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
No, you're more than welcome. Jeff emailed us a few weeks ago and told us all about his history with the band and Fish, and we thought we'd get him on to talk about this single and Songs from the Mirror album, which will appear in a different episode shortly.
Wonderful.
The Never Mind the Bullocks EP was issued on the 23rd of November 1992. And how old were you on the 23rd of November 1992, Craig?
I was the ripe old age of 20.
Okay.
We were all young back then. We were.
Yeah,
None
a
of
lot-
this grey hair bollocks.
Yeah, a lot younger than we were now. Can you, just before we go into it, can you remember who all you guys bought this on release?
Yep.
Nodding of head, shaking of head. Oh, okay. If you bought it on release, what were your initial thoughts about the announcement for the EP?
I was a bit like, cover versions. Hadn't we just had a dodgy version of something in the air for internal exile?
Yeah.
You know, is this going to be more synthesized bagpipes or something? Or is it actually, don't know. But to be fair, I mean, it was 92 was the year of the singles collection from Marillion and the singles from that, which we've just covered. It was also the first year that me and Mikey got to see Fish earlier on in that year at Hammersmith Odeon and then at the Riverside in Newcastle. And he did some gigging, it was around about the start of 92, but there wasn't really any tom-tom drums happening then that there was going to be a cover version album. It seemed that everything all seemed to coalesce and happen over the summer where he was having their bother with Polydor, if I remember right.
Well, he wanted, this is from the documentary that's with the deluxe of the Songs from the Mirror. He wanted time to write songs for the next album, but he wanted to hold on to the band. So he told Polydor, he asked Polydor to extend his contract by another album because it was a 2-album deal, and he wanted him to extend it to a 3-album deal and then give them a covers album. But Polydor said, no, we need an originals album. And in the end, he got to the point where he just told them it was going to be a covers album, and they said they weren't going to extend the contract. And yet more falling out with record companies, which is a bit of a theme for the Fishy Man.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like him, does it?
No, it doesn't. It's not. I'd like to say it's out of character, but I'd be lying, so I won't say that.
Yeah, nose is just good.
Yeah, it's big enough to start with. Mikey, what do you think? What were your sort of recollections about buying this at the time?
I was flabbergasted by the marketing campaign because I thought it was absolute tripe. It was another one of his cunning plans, which is as cunning as a fox who's just been appointed professor of cunning at Oxford University. I didn't like the hype sticker. I seem to recall seeing a couple of posters up. I think it might have been our price. But for me, again, when it comes to cover version albums, I like to kind of know what I'm going to get. And when we picked the CD up, I only knew 5 years.
Oh, right. Well, that's a track I didn't know of the three. So.
Obviously from the Ziggy Stardust album.
Yeah.
And I was aware of the Moody Blues, but I wasn't aware of that song or the album it came from. And I certainly wasn't aware of Argent. So for me, yes, it was, oh, cover versions, what the hell's he doing? But in some respects, if I hadn't been told it was all from a cover versions like album, I would have assumed that 5 Years was the only thing on here that was a cover version.
Right.
Without looking at liner notes and doing some investigation. Because for me, Hold Your Head Up sounds quite fishy.
Yeah, it's a good version. Yeah. What about you, Jeff? How did you feel about buying this at the time?
Well, for me, it was the very first new piece of Fish material available to me that was a new release. So I gave it carte blanche, 100% support. I was so excited up to that point. And I had just joined the company fan club and just got the first magazine. And of course, as you know, he tells you absolutely everything he's planning.
Yeah.
And so you're in it like to a T. The whole plan, why he's doing it, and why it's going to be great. And I thought it was very good. I knew the Argent song. That's kind of American classic rock, radio staple still. But I loved his version of it. And looking back on it through the lens of knowing his whole catalog now, it's hard for me to appreciate what he was trying to do, because I loved his lyrics. I loved his imagery. I loved his delivery. I loved the way he would turn problems, emotions, observations into art. And this is just other people's songs that he was performing for almost like a vanity project for fun. But when you read the Company Scotland magazine, he had, as you always say, a cunning plan. But I loved it because I finally got to buy a Fish CD that was new to me. And because I jumped on board, as you'll hear later on, a little bit after the split, if you will.
Yeah.
And but coming from Shadowplay, Credo, two amazing tracks on the previous album, and then having Hold Your Head Up, which I knew, and the other two songs, it definitely is not what a Fish fan's looking for, at least. But for me, it was new, it was Fish, I was all in.
Yeah. And the Stuarts, you didn't buy this at time release. Is that right?
No, I didn't buy this at the time. This one passed me by. The first time that I knew of the songs that were on this EP were actually through Songs from the Mirror.
Yeah.
But in reverse to Mikey's experience, the only one for me that I was familiar with was Hold Your Head Up, was the Argent track. I hadn't heard of any of the rest of them. But as Mikey rightly said, for some of us, this was the first hearing of these songs. Yeah. So they might as well have not been cover versions, because we never knew the original versions anyway. So it was, for many of us, I think, depending on your age, just like getting a new Fish album.
Yeah.
And it was only in retrospect that we went back and listened to the originals and went, that's how it originally sounded. Well, that's now a really interesting take on it. But that's the whole fun, I think, of this EP and Songs for the Mirror, is looking at what Fish and the band did with all those songs. I think that's where the real interest for me lies.
And for me, it was just prior to me becoming a fan. So in my first sort of memory, so I became a fan between Songs from the Mirror and Suits. That was when I first really got into Fish. But I do remember, weirdly, one of my memories, and probably the first time I ever became aware of him, was in the Songs from the Mirror gig in Aberdeen. It was at the Music Hall, which is where the second last Fish show was, and was the last time he played that, until he was able to play that until he played the second last show. So there was a 30-year gap between the two, them playing the venues, and I don't think he sold it out then, but he sold it out in the latter one. And that was the first time I really became aware of him, with the posters, because the posters obviously at the time were quite interesting. And that was the first time, and I didn't really have any interest in it, so I missed the EP kind of completely.
Right.
And I bought it later. I bought it when I became the fan, and I went back and started trying to find all the singles and such like. I didn't have, I think I bought the CD and the 7-inch.
Yeah. We've not done Internal Exile yet, Craig, have we? So
No, yeah.
this is a bit of a spoiler coming up for me. I thought it was really uneven, and this EP, because I'm not a Bowie fan, so I didn't know 5 Years, but I knew the other two tracks, and I think these are two cracking versions. It really gave me a lot of positive hope for the Covers album. Really, I've come to sort of love Internal afterwards, after the event, and certainly when we do it and talk about the remix, that's a whole different kettle of yes.
Yeah. Well, you have got us. You have made us promise you that we'll get it done in about September, haven't you? So...
Well, you didn't say which year we're doing it, so who knows? So I thought this was a really positive experience. The Never Mind the Bullocks, well, yeah, it was just marketing speak, wasn't it? Really, as Mikey says, the sticker on the front is just ridiculous. It doesn't bear any relation to the rest of the cover at all. But
it was for a purpose, because it was.
Yeah, it was to get column inches, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah, because at the time, unless you are at EMI, because EMI had a practice at the time where they would do your cassette single and your 7-inch single stickered at 99 pence, and you would do your 12-inch singles, your picture discs and stuff like that, generally at $1.99, maximum of $2.99. But shops like it was our price predominantly in the HMV, and that what's charging sometimes like $4.40, like $3.99, $4.49 for a single, and they were complaining that was too expensive for a single at the time. So he came up with this concept of it being a bullshit free zone, and to have everything priced, like say the 7-inch single maximum priced at £1.99, and similar kind of thing with the CD and the cassette single. And it was just him trying to, as usual, rail against the system.
Yeah, there was a bit of a misfire though, because at the time 4 formats were allowed, and only having 3 out seems a bit of a, like I say, a bit of a misfire. I know he said, there was a recession on, and like I mentioned in the charting the singles for the 601, 1992 was quite a fallow year and had been all year for single sales. That dropped significantly, and it was the year which had the least number ones in like decades. So I don't know if a 4th format would have made him fare any better than the 78 he got to.
There's only 2 formats in the UK.
Cassette single,
cassette single was Europe only.
Oh, was it? Right.
Yeah, cassette single was Europe only.
I'm trying to think if I had the cassette single for it or not. Can't remember.
It was Europe only. So just a 7-inch and a CD. So yeah.
I don't think that helped matters.
No, I agree with you. But I suppose at that point he was still working on the album, so you don't know how many tracks were finished to be available to go out. Should we talk about the music?
If we must.
Yeah, go on. Go on then. Jeff, we'll start with Jeff. What's your take on the version of Argent's Hold Your Head Up on here?
I really like it. I like the substitution of the guitar versus the organ of the original. And it's his voice, that it's kind of that post-Marillion, early Fish era lowering of the voice, but it's still Fish. And I think that track's great. It's probably my 3rd favorite track. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, when it came out, I played the hell out of it. And I was in a cover band at the time, and I convinced them we got to do this song. And we did it his style. I mean, we never got out of the basement, but as a 20-year-old, I'm the same age as Craig. It was great. I loved it.
Brilliant. Okay. We'll go to the other musician on the podcast then. Stuart Clyde, what do you think of this?
Yeah, I really liked that version of Hold Your Head Up. I thought it was, like Jeff said, this substitution of the organ for the guitar became kind of a thing for the Fish version of a lot of the covers. They would take the main instrument from the original and replace it with Frank's guitar, and it always gave it that extra edge, that extra bit of bite. and all the updated sounds from when Argent would have recorded it originally, up to date. It sounded fresh. It sounded contemporary. It didn't sound too much like just an absolute carbon copy. There was enough of Fish's own stamp on it for it to become, his original take and not just a karaoke version. So yeah, I really liked it.
Cool. Stuart M?
I like it. I know we don't like it as much as others do. Not because I don't think it's good, but because I think the live version of it, when I heard it done live, just blew it away. There was something like a real edge to it when it was done live, and that's very indicative of Fish at the time. Great recordings, but it had its real power when it was live, and I sort of feel that about this. This is one of those ones that I remember. I think it was possibly part of a medley one of the last times I saw it, but certainly it was one of those songs that really worked live. It sort of fitted in with the vibe. I think that some of the Internal Exile stuff did, the sort of tongues and shadow play. It had that kind of energy to it, and I think live is where it really came alive.
Yeah, cool. Mikey?
Yeah, it was same sort of thing, really. It does very much have a lot of the power and strength that a lot of the up-tempo songs did from Internal Exile, and I think it was a natural progression for me. And it's the dream lineup, isn't it? You've got Foss and Robin and Frank and David and Kevin on drums. It's
I think the rhythm section on this, tight
it
as
just
anything.
makes it. It's not my favorite song on the EP. I think I would have flipped it for question.
What, as a single?
Well, it wouldn't have worked as a single, but
No.
I think it's a stronger song.
Well,
but again,
it probably is, but it's not a single. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I love it when I've heard it live. I mean, the versions that he's done are absolutely fantastic, and I'm sure Craig will say the same thing. I've been replaying Sushi as well. So, everybody was at the top of the game, I think, at this point. And musically, it's really powerful, and I thoroughly enjoy it and still do to this day.
You've been playing Sushi, aka the Last Great Fish album.
Live album.
The Last Great Fish live album. Sorry, I missed the word live out. Yes, well, yeah. Okay. Greg, what do you make of Hold Your Head Up?
I love his version of it. I much prefer it. There's a lot of these songs that I actually prefer to the originals when we go on to Songs from the Mirror. I think it's definitely a more modern take. Well, it's funny because from when the original was released to this version being released is a hell of a sight closer to when Fisher's version was released to now, which is just.
But let's not get into
I find that absolutely crazy. I know.
If
you think it was about 20 years of a difference or something,
Yeah.
and you think what music was like 20 years ago from now,
Yeah.
and it's like yesterday. But the difference in that 20 years from the early 70s to the early 90s, it's crazy. And when you look at the production value and the sounds and the quality, just bonkers.
It is. But I mean, I find the original Argent version quite plodding.
Yeah.
And this is just so much tighter. Is it necessarily the best song that he would have chose for his first single? Not really. I get why he did it. He wanted something a bit rocky and he wanted something a bit different.
While you brought it up, then what would you have chosen for a single off Songs from the Mirror?
I will be absolutely controversial, and
please do not say what I think you're going to say. No,
no. There's two I would have chose.
Go on.
And it would have been between Boston Tea Party and 8 Man, just for shits and giggles. Yeah.
I'm with you, Craig, all the way. Those two songs for sure.
Yeah. Just for shits and giggles, because they're just so much fun.
Yeah.
Don't take them seriously. Yeah,
well, you see, in my alternate universe, he would have released Lucky as part of the Internal Exile campaign, left Something in the Air off that album entirely, and used that as a launch for this.
See, I'm going to be more controversial, and actually, I think
go for
it would have not worked in what Fish was doing at the time, but I'd have loved to have seen him do solo. as a single.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
would have
it's lovely
fitted that
stuff.
ballady thing he went
Yeah.
down not that far down the line, but it's a really strong version of
It's
that
an
song.
amazing version. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Come on, John. What would your choice have been? Go on.
Well, I think it's an okay. I think it's probably the choice for a single off this album. If I'm honest, I thought you were going to say Jeepster for a minute, but definitely not Jeepster. I'm not a massive fan of 5 Years. It's just, yeah. If you like the Ziggy Stardust album, it means a lot to you, but it doesn't to me.
So Jeff, since we're all playing this kind of
Jeff,
fantasy single, go on, what would you have chosen if you had a choice for it?
Well, I guess I think it's the right choice for the single, especially since it sounds like over by you guys, the original wasn't as well known as it is here in the States.
No.
However, for an alternate universe, I'd probably maybe say the Yes tune, Time and a Word.
Yeah, that's the other choice. Yeah, good shout, Jeff. Absolutely. Okay. Well, he didn't pick it. He picked this, and the second track on the EP is a version of the Moody Blues Question. Jeff, what do you make of that?
I didn't know the song. I obviously know the Moody Blues, but I liked it. I love the powerful acoustic intro. He sings it, performs it well. I really do love the keyboard outro that does the fade out at the end. That really kind of makes the song for me. But yeah, it's a good track. It's a nice, I guess, a B-side or whatever you want to call it on the CD single version. But yeah, good tune.
Okay. Stuart Clyde.
I think it was quite close to the original. You know, there's some of the songs that he reinterprets, that he puts his complete own stamp on. I found the Question was a re-recording, if you like, and an update of the original. He's obviously very invested in the track himself because the vocal delivery is very fish. You might say, what else is it going to be? But it was more than just a re-singing of the original version. It was definitely got his thing on it. The thing that I found is that I thought the producer let fish away with an awful lot more on Question than perhaps they would have done with producers of Marillion albums. It can be a little bit his voice is a wee bit unsupported in some places, whereas I think if he'd done that style in a Marillion album, he would have been picked up for that and said, actually, no, you need to re-sing that line, put a wee bit more breath behind it and hold that note to the end of the line. Whereas there's a lot of hit the note and then fall off it quite quickly.
It's more of a live performance, isn't it?
Yes, that's quite often what he does live.
Yeah.
But not from the Marillion studio albums, certainly. But it did sound as if he was very much invested in that. It really was a favourite of his, and he put his own stamp on it.
Stuart Mitchell?
Yeah, it's not one I knew going in. I still couldn't tell you if I've ever heard the original. I liked it. Again, I noted down, as you just said, that rhythm section is absolutely driving. I think vocally, actually, it sort of kicked into me that this is one of the last great sort of Fish vocals. This album and a little bit of Suits is when it starts to drop off, and I think this is the last time he got what we would think of as the great Fish vocals. He obviously adapted over time to what worked for him, but this is more like what we were used to. I like it. I think it suits him. Again, like a lot of the stuff on this, it's maybe a little polished for me. Across the board, I think that's my complaint about quite a lot of this album, and not the complaint. It's just, it's a bit clean.
Okay. All right. Mikey?
Well, I think this is fucking awesome.
So what do you really think?
That's what I really think. Like I said earlier, I wasn't really aware of the Moody Blues version of it. And again, the rhythm section on this just blows me away every time I hear it. When you've got that middle section, which brings everything down, and then you've got the I'm looking for someone in my life part.
Yeah.
Fish's voice is just absolutely beautiful. And then after you've had that whole sequence and you've got this tranquil moment, the drums just come crashing back in. It just, honestly, it just lifts the hairs on my arms every time I hear it. It's just, absolute perfection. I mean, I know there's an edit of it on the 7-inch single, which I don't have. And I dread to think what they've cut out of it. But I've never actually heard it. But it's what, 6 odd minutes, 6:38?
6:38.
You know, it was never going to be a single choice. It never could be. But yeah, it's outstanding. It's one of my favorite tracks on the album anyway.
Okay. Craig.
It's a cracker. Again, like with Hold Your Heads Up, it's tight. It's nicely produced. I think Stuart's quite right with the vocals on it. It's like a live sounding vocal on it. And it's also where Fisher's still got the different kind of range in his voice as well, where he can sing slightly in the power, but also, like I say, the looking for section that Mikey was talking about, his range, his intonation and stuff of it is great, and it works really, really well. Again, it's got. I still think I've subsequently listened to the Moody Blues version, and
not like this.
It's not like that at all. It's a bit like, I know we'll talk about when we talk songs from it. No, it's a bit like, comparing his version of Fearless to the Pink Floyd's version of Fearless. It's nothing particularly like it that much.
No.
But yeah, I do like the versions on songs from it, and I do like this, and I think we'll talk about when we talk about the album. It's a good album opener.
Yeah, everything that you guys have said, absolutely. It's well produced. It's dynamic. I quite like the cleanness, Stuart, but then you've got the sort of live-ish vocal in the more up-tempo bits. I think it's a great. This track of the 3 on the EP is what made me look forward to the album, if I'm honest. I think it's brilliant.
Did you know the original?
I did. I did know the original. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the Moodies. They're a bit pastoral for me, if I'm honest. But the original I do like, but it hasn't got this sort of energy in it. It really hasn't. Which brings us to the last track on the EP, which is Bowie's 5 Years. Jeff.
I love this track. I just love the way he sings it. It could have been on Sunsets and Empire in lieu of Sunsets and Empire. I don't know the Bowie version. I've never sought to hear the Bowie version because I just want to know this version.
Right.
And that line that he sings, I got it in front of me here. It was cold and it rained, so I felt like an actor. He builds back to we got 5 years to get out of the song. He repeats that chorus. The way he builds the passion and the pain and the yearning, even though he didn't write these lyrics, it's like he did. And that's why I love this song so much, just the way he sings it and delivers it, and it gets right to my heart.
It clearly means a lot to him, doesn't it?
Yeah, and you can tell. You can absolutely tell.
Yeah. Cool. Stuart Clyde.
I think for me this is the standout track in the EP. Like Jeff, I thought his vocal. Now I didn't know the original Bowie version before I heard Fish's version, but I did go back and listen to it afterwards. And I can tell you, Jeff, you won't be disappointed if you go back and listen to the Bowie version, because Fish's vocal is hands down the better version.
Yeah.
You know, it is absolutely brilliant. He's completely owning his own version of that. You know, it is not karaoke. It is not just a plain reiteration of the original. It's a good bit slower, but he delivers it with so much more feel and emotion than Bowie does, which seems strange. You know, you would think that the original would be delivered with the utmost emotion, but I found Bowie's delivery quite pedestrian, actually. You know, it's almost like he's going through the motions of singing it. I can imagine, you know, as somebody in the early 70s hearing that for the first time on the Ziggy Stardust album and been absolutely blown away, and for it to stand its own for all those years. But I think Fish took that and went, do you know what, David, you could have done this with it, and took it to the next level. It is gorgeous, and his vocal delivery on that song is my favourite. Just stunning.
Brilliant. Stuart M.
Yeah, I'm quite similar. I didn't know it at the time, the Bowie version. I think they both stand up very much on their own. I think the Bowie version has its charms, but I do think it's one of Fish's best vocals of that time period and just really holds together well. Although I think you have to give props to the fact that the song was written 20 years earlier and was so prescient as to where we were not only in 1994, 95, 93, sorry, but where we are now. It all still stands up, and it's, you know, even the whole 5 years thing. It's so incredible as a song, but I think Fish makes it his own. He absolutely does. The vocal is one of, I think, one of his best, and he spits out the venom where he needs to spit out the venom, and it's nice and pleasant the rest of the time. And that's possibly where, I'm not sure I'd go as far to say he has the edge on Bowie, but he makes it a different song.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Mikey?
Yeah, I'm going to follow up on that because you're right, Stuart. He does kind of put a lot more emphasis on some of the lines than in other parts of the song, which Bowie really doesn't do on his version. The whole "my brain felt like a warehouse" bit, it's quite venomous the way he puts it across, and it has got Fish written all the way through it. I mean, if you weren't to know these were cover versions, this is another one of those that you could honestly think Fish could have wrote this. It goes into one of his quite wordy song canon. You know, he's known for cramming a lot of lyrics in, and obviously apart from the repeating refrain at the end, there's a lot of words condensed, you know, in the first half of the song. I think it's absolutely stunning. It really is.
I think songs like that do what they say on the tin. It makes the album do what it says on the tin, in that you can see his influences pouring out of him when he does these versions, Mikey.
And the really, I mean, probably cover this when we get to do songs from the Mirror proper, but Bowie uses it as an album opener, and Fish uses it as an album closer. And, you know, and I think it works so much better the way Fish has done it. You know, just does. And as an EP closer, it works really well.
I think it maybe works better as the way that Fish does it as a closer because of how he sings it. I think if he'd sang it the way Bowie did and it was sort of a bit lighter, it wouldn't have worked. It ends on a sort of like a statement. This is my statement about the world and how pissed off I am and where, you know, what's wrong with everything. And that is a great way to end anything, especially if you're Fish.
That's what I didn't get from the Bowie version. I didn't get that sense of venom and heartfelt investment that I did in Fish's version. You know, as I said, I thought the Bowie version was a wee bit pedestrian in its delivery. I've got some really good lyrics here. They're really quite clever, and here they are. Whereas Fish absolutely delivers them the way that I think they should have always been delivered.
What do you think of it, Craig?
Yeah, I think with the Bowie version, I think his delivery in that is very Bowie in it. But it's Fish's version is more, it's passionate really a version to way to do it. It's got more to it. Bowie's version, I don't say pedestrian, it's more like somebody standing at the side and observing and just reading it out, kind of. It builds up. The Bowie version builds up, you know, builds up quite, but not to the extent this does. But it's not a pedestrian thing with Bowie. It's just like, you know, when he was in his like alien kind of phase and all.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. He's setting the album up, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's a different kind of delivery, but Fish makes this song his own. And as with all of songs from them, you know, with these songs that he's picked, you know, being big influences in these artists and the songs meaning so much to him. And you say that he's picked them right because they're right for his voice, right for the kind of lyrics, and right for the kind of things that he does. So I think there's a lot more clever than what some people look on surface value of it. But I love this version, his version of it. I think it's absolutely stunning.
I'm never really been that struck with this because I don't really know the original, and I still don't know the original. So
please, then you'll get a bigger appreciation.
Yeah, maybe so. I'm glad it's at the end of Songs from the Mirror. I mean, Fish is all the things you've said are absolutely true, but it's not as exciting, as interesting as some of the stuff that comes before it on Songs from the Mirror for me. but that's just my take on it.
Just, just thinking about what you were saying about the placing of it and everything, it just got me thinking there that in its own way, Ziggy Stardust is a concept piece. You know, it is a piece that leads from one bit to the other. So when you're taking that out, if you take it as part of a whole album, it probably works better than when you're taking it out in the way that Fish did, which is why Fish did what he did with it, because it isn't leading on to anything else. It's not leading on to the story of Ziggy. It's not leading on to what happens there, I guess. It's been a long, long time since I've sat and listened to the Ziggy album from start to finish, but it maybe is just that. It'd be a bit like taking Blind Curve out of the track, you know, and seeing how that would work. You're taking it out of a context.
And I'm sure if you love Ziggy Stardust, you are shouting at your podcast provider right now. I apologize for my ignorance, but there you go. Has anybody watched the video for Hold Your Head Up recently?
Oh yes.
50p and a Mars bar, I think they spent on this, but yes,
it was. I don't. It's funny because you watch it, and there's a couple of bits where thematically it mirrors Marillion's Cover My Eyes video, with Fish sitting on a chair spinning round and there being, you know, a sexy girl dancing. And so, other than that, you've got
it's not just a sexy girl dancing, it's a sexy girl dancing with
a fluorescent light.
A fluorescent light, yeah.
It must have been fingers ready, isn't it? But yeah, it was 250 pence as a jammy dodger and a Mars bar thing for the budget.
And a touch of cultural appropriation thrown in as well, because he likes playing these dressy ups, doesn't he? And there might be a couple of smatterings in the album as well later on.
I think I'm trying to remember, because obviously I recorded the interviews for the Kettle of Fish DVD, and it was on there, and I should have watched it ahead of time, what he said about it. I don't think he was particularly complimentary about it, though.
I can understand that. I mean, yeah. They may as well not have bothered, quite frankly. It's probably the worst video I've seen.
And the funny thing
for
is,
a long time.
I think I only vaguely remember seeing it once on like one of the chart showy kind of shows as a new release, but wasn't in the charts because Mike will just go through the charts in a bit. But
I can't even remember it back in the day. I think
I don't know.
Compilation was probably the first time I saw it.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's the same for most of the videos of that time period, really, from about Internal Exile onwards. I don't think I'd seen most of those videos in the full thing until the Kettle of Fish came out.
Yeah.
The chart show on ITV was good, to be fair. With Fish and Marillion videos on ITV, we did get them. And there used to be a thing on was it the album show, which used to be on late at night on ITV, which would show like new releases and videos and things and stuff like that. I remember that's where I tended to see more of the videos for Brave and Suits back then.
Yeah. Do we discuss the sleeve, or shall we wait till we talk about Songs from Mirror to discuss?
Well, all it is a snippet of the Guddler, isn't it? From the main. It's the hand.
It's the money shot. It's the money shot from the Guddler.
You've got to lower the tone.
But it is.
See, if you don't know what a Guddler is, people are really going to be confused now by you using that phrase.
Well, what is it? It's the whole
trout tickler.
Just the picture. He's tickling
Not making
the
it
fish,
any better.
isn't he? He's tickling the fish.
That's why the sticker was put on it.
All right then.
It was the first time. I'll say it was the first time that we ever had a cover for a Fish stroke Marillion single that wasn't Mark Wilkinson.
Yeah,
and it was pretty much the only time, wasn't it, between this and Kettle of Fish, I suppose. But anywho,
okay. We've kind of alluded to the format, so I think in the UK there was a 4-track CD single and a 7-inch single. Certainly on Discogs there is a cassette single, which was Holland only, or Europe only. There's also a European 4-track CD single which has an orange disc in it, but it's still the same 4 tracks. Hold Your Head Up is an edited version at 324. It's also got the album version at 411. Anything else you want to say about the packaging or formats?
It's just boring for formats, and it's the no, nothing. Just we've just done charting the singles for the releases. Between Dryland and Sympathy and No One Can, those last 3 releases, they had some cracking CDs, and 12 inches and clear vinyls and picture discs and all that kind of stuff.
It just smacks of the record company not putting the effort into the promotion, doesn't it? Really, but
yeah. But
he'd already pissed them
alert.
off by then.
Yeah. Spoiler alert for the next chart on the single for Fishers, with Lady Let It Lie and Fortunes Who Own Stuff.
Oh,
It's thumbs up. It's thumbs up there.
yeah,
We'll get back to
yeah.
some decent formats.
Yeah, we do.
So
Mikey,
it's not all downhill.
What was going on in the charts at the time?
Well, Fish wasn't.
No.
The single limped in at number 78 and then was no more. I'll give
That's
you
the
a
two
run.
Stewarts' fault. It's the two Stewarts' fault they didn't buy it.
I'll give you a rundown of the top 10, see if you remember any of them.
No.
At number 10 was Arrested Development with People Every Day. I am everyday people.
All right. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
At number 9 was Cliff Richard with I Still Believe in You. Couldn't tell you what that is.
Yeah.
At number 8 was another oldie, Rod Stewart with Waltzing Matilda.
Oh God.
Oh, yeah, his cat. Yeah, I remember that.
Tom Traubert's Blues.
Tom Trauber's
Yeah.
Blues, yeah.
Yeah.
At 7 was Undercover with Never Let Her Slip Away.
Oh God.
Yeah, I remember Undercover.
Yeah.
Original's amazing.
At
but
number,
yeah.
at number 6 was Boys to Men with End of the Road.
That's good.
Yeah. At number 5 was The Prodigy, Out of Space. At number 4 was Heaven 17 and a re-release of Temptation.
Okay.
At number 3, we'll have Michael Jackson with Heal the World. At number 2, a favourite of Craig's, Charles and Eddie's Would I Lie to You?
Baby, yeah. Yeah, you just fucking have. You just explained it, idiots.
And at number 1 was Whitney Houston with I Will Always Love You.
And that's why Fish wasn't in the charts.
That's why he wasn't in the
Bodyguard.
chart.
Yeah.
Still prefer Dolly's version, but there you go.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. You've heard what we think of the Never Mind the Bullocks EP. So all that remains to be said is thank you to our guests this evening. Thank you to Jeff.
Thank you.
Thank you to Stuart M.
Thank you.
Thank you to Stuart C.
Cheers, everyone.
Thank you. And thank you to Mikey Kay.
No bother, mate. Thanks very much.
Thank you. And thank you to my podcast other half, Craig.
Why, thank you, young sir. Have you forgiven us for cheating on you, by the way?
Hey, what you get up to with your sci-fi mates is up to you, and it's nothing to do with me. We just do the important stuff on here.
Yeah, I suppose. Okay.
Yeah. All that remains to be said is it's good night from me.
And it's good night from him.
Take care.
Go on, Jeff. You can do it.
And stay alive.
Thanks for listening to Planet Marzipan Podcast. Please like and subscribe from whichever platform you get your podcasts from. You can contact us at planetmarzipanpodcast@gmail.com and check out marillion.com, fishmusic.scot for all the